All right, if I have a 3-inch candle, that wicks for 3 inches. That wicks for 3 inches. That wicks for 3 inches. That's a tea light. That's for 2 to 3 inches. That one's for 2 to 3 inches. These would all work. How do I know which one I should use? Hi, welcome back. I'm Lisa with Candles by Sincerely Ice Blue. On this channel, we talk all about making candles and making candles and making candles and testing and the business of selling your candles. But right now we're talking a whole lot about testing and all of the everything in between making them and selling them. If you're new here or you're coming back, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. Become part of the channel. Would love to see you again. And don't forget to click on the little bell just so you get notified as new things come out. And today, you've guessed it, we're going to talk about my arch nemesis, Wicks. Wicks and I are not friends. We don't get along. We don't see eye to eye. They don't work the way I want them to. And man, it is frustrating. And there's a lot of wicks out there to choose from. And chances are, if you've ever burned a candle or owned a candle, you've either had a cotton wick or you've worked with or used a wood wick. And cotton wicks are the most common. And no matter which wick you're using, there's a lot of variables that go into play. The job of that wick is to basically fuel your candle. It's going to take all the things that you made your candle out of, so your wax and coloring and fragrance oil, and it's going to use that as fuel to burn your candle, and therefore make the wonderful ambiance that you're going for, but also give you that wonderful hot throw that we're striving for. And if you're like me, you've made candles where the cold throw is sensational. Like, you pick up your candle, the top is nice and smooth, you love it, there's not a lot of wet spots, it looks beautiful, you take that lid off, oh, it smells so delightful. You light it, and the big letdown comes. There's no fragrance, there's no scent, there's a light scent, it burns too hot, the candle drowns. Oh, the battles we go through with wicks and testing. What are the basics? How do you get started in this? How do you decide what to use? And I'm not the expert. I'm honestly not. I have been struggling with this. And if you watched one of my last couple of videos, you've heard me talk about that for the month of October, all I did was test and test and re-wick and test and test and test. And I really dedicated the month of October to doing that because I've been struggling. And when I started in this business, I'll be honest, I figured it was pretty easy. Buy some wax, put a wick in it, go, pick a fragrance, light it. It's great. It's not that easy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes people get lucky, or they've already had a business and they've got a lot of followers on their Instas and their Facebooks and TikToks. So I've seen the videos. I've seen the people on YouTube that say they made $1,000 in their first week, or $30,000 or $50,000 in their first month or 6 months. I'm not that person. And it's bummed me out, but you know what? This is my own journey. So anyway, I digressed, but let's talk about this, okay? So the very first thing you have to do when you are trying to pick your wick is you have to know the diameter of the vessel you are using. And by the diameter, you have to measure from this inside wall to the inside wall across the center of whatever your jar is. So if you take your ruler and you position it, now this isn't the best ruler, but I'm going to measure the inside diameter of this jar. So literally from the inside wall to the inside wall. That's going to tell you the diameter so that you can then figure out which wicks, as you see when I started this video, when I was saying this is 3, this is 3, this is 3, You have to know the diameter so that you can start picking your wick. The reality is that there may be 15 or 20 different wicks on the market that fit that diameter. So you have to look at the other things that you're working with in order to be able to pick what you want. Some wicks are going to work with soy better. Some are going to work better with a parasoy. Some are going to work better with a coconut or blends. Wood wicks are their own different animal, and they all work different ways. And sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you're going to try all 15 wicks, and it's going to be that 15th wick that finally works the way you want it to. And it can be frustrating, but I'm going to tell you, don't give up. And I'm going to show you some tools today that you can actually use. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about, is the tools that you can use that I wish I really would have spent more time learning and referring to when I started making candles. Some tools that the different candle suppliers have on their websites that you can use based on the wax you're using. And I'm going to talk to you today about soybeads.com because I've been using the Freedom Wax. So I'm going to show you how to use their tool in regards to their products. I'm also going to take a look at the Flaming Candle because theirs is a more extensive wick list that you can use. And then also, since I live in Texas, I'm going to show you Lone Star Candle. Now, when you're talking about ordering your supplies, another thing I have learned is try and buy from a supplier that is closest to you, because right now shipping costs are through the roof. And that's why I started originally with Amazon, because of Amazon Prime. But those were just basic generic cotton wicks, and they really don't serve the purpose I'm looking for with my
Okay, so we're going to take a look at soybeads.com first. If I come over here to shop, I'm just going to scroll right down to Wicks, and it'll take me over to the Wickinator 3000. Now, if I click on that, it's going to give me my different options of wax that I can purchase through soybeads.com. And I'm using the Freedom Wax, which you can see is already checked. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK, which is going to take me to my container size. Now remember, we're talking about the inside diameter of your container. So for this purpose, I'm going to say I have between a 3 and a 3.5 inch diameter. And I'm going to scroll down and finish, and it tells me try a CD 18 or a CD 20, and if I prefer the Eco series, I want to go with that Eco 14, or if I would prefer to double wick it, I can go with an LX 12. Now, all those wicks are going to be pretty much based on your preference. So remember, we've talked about the fact that there is no direct answer. They can't just say, yep, use this wick and it's going to work perfectly. So why would I want to look at a CDN versus an Eco Wick? The CDN series is very similar to the CD series or the Stabilo wicks. And that's that it is a flat braided wick. And the difference with the CDN series is it's also treated with a special chemical, and that allows it to burn cooler than the CD wicks. So you can take a look here, you can kind of get a look-see on what those wicks look like up close. Now the CD and the CDN series are flat braided cotton wicks with paper threads that are woven into the cotton. And the CD series is more designed for a higher fragrance oil and a softer wax, or if I'm using parasoy. The CDNs then, I'm going to look at for straight up soy. The difference with the Eco Wicks is they're flat, coreless, they're still cotton, but they have a thin paper filament woven, and they're for burn stability. They are coated with a higher melt point wax, so they do burn well in soy, or if you're using any other natural waxes, such as an apricot, or if you were looking at a blend with coconut soy. So if we take a look here at the website, you can see you can choose between 20-piece or 100-piece options. They don't really offer you the different packs where you can buy maybe 100 wicks of all the different sizes. So if you're just starting out, I would go with the 20 wick. And here I can pick all my different sizes. So I could take a look at those LX wicks. I could take a look at the Eco wicks. So I have all the different options on the different sizes, and they are pretty much all pre-tabbed. So they're going to come with that little silver discs on the end of them. And this way you don't have to do that yourself. They're already going to come pre-tabbed. Okay, the next site I want to take a look at is the Flaming Candle. Now, this is a more popular website. More people tend to come on here to order everything from your different fragrance oils to wicks to vessels. So I'm just going to come over here to candle making supplies, and I'm going to go down to the wick guide. Now, they do a great job of breaking out all the different types of wicks from the Premier 700 series, the Zinc Core wicks, HTP, Eco wicks. Now, if you're just getting started with wicks, this is a great site because they do describe for you when you should use or when you might want to consider each wick. So right now we're looking at the Zinc and the HTP, but I'm going to scroll down to the CD wicks. So CD wicks are versatile. They work well in most viscous waxes, and that would be your single pour paraffins or your soy and vegetable waxes. They're self-trimming and they're designed to promote a consistent burning flame. So it does sound like what I'm looking for. I'm going to see my wick sizes listed here from smallest to largest. And let's say that again, we were looking at that 3 to 3.5. So I can see that would fall under the large. And if I scroll down here, I'm looking at containers and it's recommending either a wick size of 20 or 22. Now, if I take a look at a different ones, let's say I wanted to look at the Eco wicks. So notice that the sizes they're recommending in the Eco line are an Eco 12, 14, or 16. One thing you're going to want to keep in mind is if I'm looking at an Eco 12, which we see here is for a container that's a medium 2 to 3 inch. If I go down to that CD 12, they're not the same size. So this is still a medium 2 to 3 inch candle, but the 12 in a CD is not necessarily the exact same size as it would be in an Eco or a CDN or those Premier wicks. So if I'm in the Flaming Candle, I'm going to go to that wick guide. It gives you a little bit more recommendations if you want to read through it. And I do recommend printing this out so that it's easy for you to refer to when you start trying to pick and choose your wicks. And you can see they do the same thing here. I can order from 25 to 100 to 500 wicks, and then your cost per wick obviously goes down in the larger sizes. I also recommend checking the reviews, and when you read those, you're going to see what people have to say about the different waxes that they're using and how these wicks work. And remember that the ratings are typically going to be based on the different types of wax that the Flaming Candle will offer. Okay, the next one I want to take a look at is a favorite of mine. It's the Lone Star Candle Supply. And because I'm in Texas, I do like to try and order from them because it's closer to me, which means less shipping and also less time to get to me. And that's something I do recommend as you start looking at all of these. Look at the places that not only have the supplies you're looking for, but if you're looking to reduce your shipping costs, because obviously shipping costs are going to play into what you're pricing your products for, you might want to look for suppliers in your area. Now, this is a great resource, but we're going to start out looking at the candle wicks. And if I click on their candle wicks, you can see you can get everything in here. They do different zinc wicks. They do wooden wicks. You have a whole large supply of what you might choose to use. But where I want you to go is the Candle Making University. And this is a great learning tool, no matter what wax you're using, even if it's from a different supplier. And we're going to take a look right now just under the principles of candle wicks. Now, they do a great job at breaking down everything from a guide to wicking, using multiple wicks, and then frequently asked questions. So let's go ahead and click on the guide for candle making. And if I scroll down here, you can see that it's very similar. They discuss the different types of wicks, what makes a zinc wick different than a paper core wick, different than a CD series, and then it breaks it down as well. So I can see a CD4 would be for votives and small containers. Here's my diameter size. And if I scroll back up, it's going to talk to me about the different waxes that I might want to use this in. So for me, because I'm using the Freedom Wax, the soy, I'm going to be looking at the Eco series or that CDN series. And I would be looking from Eco 1 to Eco 14 based on the different sizes of my containers. Now I'm going to go back up to the Candle Making University and I'm going to go back to Guide to Wicking. And here again, it's just doing a whole lot of pieces and parts to teach you all about the different types of wicking. If we go back to Candle Making University and I go to using multiple wicks, this is very helpful and I highly recommend printing this out as well, or at least saving it so that you can refer to it, because it's showing you if you're going to go with multiple wicks, when and how you should place them. So if I have a 4-inch round diameter, I could go with 2. I might want to go with 3. If I have that larger candle, I might want to go with 5. If you're using the candles, the square ones like I am from the Dollar Tree, it's showing you how to either place 2 or place 2. And they talk about the importance of testing. Testing is going to be vital for you to know what works best for you. Just because it's showing you something or it's saying you should only do this in a 4-inch, you may do this for a 3.5-inch. You may set it up with 3 wicks for a 4-inch where somebody else is only using 2. So don't compare yourself to what other people are doing. Do what works best for you. So if we go over here and we take a look at some of the commonly asked questions about candle wicks, these are the things that you're going to see a lot if you're in the forums. A lot of people ask things of, why am I not getting a full melt pool? Or what is a full melt pool? I have a black ball which crumbles on the end of my wick. What is that called? Are wooden wicks easier to use? How do I know what to choose? So remember, we saw it on all 3 of the different wicking pages that we've been on. And what I mean is, everybody gives you different types of wicks you can use for the same diameter, just like we saw the different placement of them. So this is going to be entirely what works best for you. One of the things I do like about Lone Star is I can go ahead and order myself a sampler series kit of either the Ecos or the CD series, or I can do a master wick sample kit. It does not have the wood, but it's got all the different types of wicks. So if you're not sure if you need zinc or HTP or CD or Eco, and you want to just have a bunch of them on hand, this is a great place to start.
Okay, so now that we have taken a look at some of the different tools you have and talked about some different things we can do with ordering our wicks and picking our wicks, we have to talk about testing our wicks. You have to be able to burn test your candles before you can sell them, because otherwise you're going to run into that. You're going to run into selling your product and it has no scent, or the wick drowns out, or the wick comes unattached, or a whole bunch of other things that could happen. So you do have to do good, solid testing before you start selling your products. So you're going to make 3 of the exact candle. So I would make 3 in this jar. The only thing that's going to differ between the 3 is my wick. So as we've seen, I've got a lot of different choices. So maybe I'll pick a CDN wick, maybe I'll pick a CD wick, maybe I'll pick an Eco wick, or maybe I will pick 3 from the same. I will pick 3 wicks out of the CDN series, or 3 wicks out of the CD series. And I'm going to make those candles, and then I'm going to let that candle cure for a minimum of 2 weeks. 2 to 3 is better, especially if you're using soy. So then when it comes time to test, you're going to bring those candles out. You're going to trim your wicks. Always trim your wicks. You're going to trim them down to 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. You're going to light all 3 candles at the same time. You're going to put them on a flat, clean surface, and then you're going to burn them. Wicks. Definitely my arch nemesis. Someday I'm going to conquer these little guys, though. Someday. Just not yet. I'm still working on it just like you are. And that's why we're here. And if you've been watching some of the very successful candle makers and the candle makers that have been around and have a great following and have been around for a couple years, you'll see they never stop working on their development and testing and adapting and tweaking and making changes. So even if you find the perfect wick today, the supplier that you're buying your wax from or your fragrance from may make a change in their formula that now your candle performs differently, and now you have to find a different wick or you have to make a change. And just remember, wicks are always going to be something you have to learn and understand and trial and error and work with. But hopefully today you've enjoyed learning about some of the tools that are out there on the websites that you can use, and you can adapt those into your sessions for testing, and you can find it a little bit easier versus just kind of guessing, which is what I did when I started and wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what the difference was between a CD and a CDN and a Premier and an Eco, and did it matter? Was it just a fancy name? I know when I started, I was like, oh, Eco. That sounds like it goes with recycling. I'll try Eco. Well, it works great with the soy, but it didn't work so great with my Parasoy. So trial and error. Don't get frustrated. You are not alone. Use the tools that I showed you today. If you liked what we talked about, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. Be part of the channel. Come back again. Click on that little bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. And we have some new discussions about wicks and testing and all of these things that go into this wonderful journey that you are joining me on. And that's making candles, and making candles that bring joy into somebody's life. So don't forget to live your life out loud. And this week, that's exactly what I want you to do, is I want you to bring joy into somebody's heart that maybe you haven't before. Do something for a neighbor. Take them one of your candles. Buy them a bouquet of flowers. Hold a door open for a stranger. Be that change in the world that we all really need to see right now, because listen, we're coming up into the holiday season. Everybody is like this and they're stressed out. Take a deep breath. Do something nice for somebody. Drop me a line. Let me know how it went. Let me know what you want to hear and see and talk about. And I will see you next time. So have a good one. Bye for now.